What's going on, guys? So, as I told you guys before, I'm trying to get out of the practice of saying, "Hey, what's going on, YouTube?" Because fuck YouTube, because they're constantly messing with my content. So, on that note, um, actually, I've been planning this for a while. And I want to inform those of you who are my true supporters who have supported me for years in the comment section and thumbing up and viewing my videos. Those of you who have donated to my PayPal. Those of you, excuse me, damn cough. Those of you who have supported me as Brian Blogs Corner Club members on my Patreon. That I am going to be moving my material off of YouTube, meaning primarily uploading stuff on BitChute and Black Avenger TV the next time I get a strike. I think I've mentioned this already, but just in case I haven't, I'm just letting you guys know, be prepared for it. I'm going to switch it up on these motherfuckers, just like Tommy Sotomayor and all of the big boys do. When they attack one channel, I'm going to go to another one, okay? So even if I haven't been flagged in a while, when it happens again, I'm gonna, go to the other platforms, including especially Black Avenger TV. Like I said, I'm gonna be doing live streams on Black Avenger TV with you guys. So that's how we're gonna popularize and get moving over there in a big way. But a lot of my content is going to be going over on, most of it is going to be going, all of it, say that, is going to be going to BitChute and Black Avenger TV the next time this channel it gets fucked with. I may put some stuff on my alternative channel with the 700 subs here on YouTube. I may not, but just letting you guys know that, the next time there's a strike, which will probably be before the 3 months expires for the first warning strike I got, that's what's going down. Cause like I said, I'm not gonna hold my tongue. I'm not gonna be politically correct. Fuck these motherfuckers. I'm gonna say what I want about whoever I want. Any time I want. So that's that. That being said, I've been waiting to get to this video for about a week now. This is part of the lost materials recovered or found that I recovered when I was, as I told you guys a few videos ago, I was going through the SD card on that I took out of my old phone, and I was emptying it into my laptop and portable hard drives because I needed to format that SD card so it would work on my new phones. And I came across this old story. Well, by news standards, it's old, but it's not really that old. From 3 years ago, about this big booty Instathought butt model that committed suicide allegedly, although her family doesn't think so. That went by the name Brittany Elise Burnett. Now, Brittany Elise Burnett, she didn't have as many followers as a lot of these booty models, only like 69,000. That's still a lot more than most people. But she did have Drake actually following her. When it comes to black men, or in Drake's case, half black men, it doesn't really take much as a female to impress them. A little fake up, a little weave, a little Botox butt injection, some silicone breast implants, and you're in the club, basically. You can very easily, for Christ's sake, look at Paris Milan's below basic looking behind and what she looks like comparatively with fake up on versus not. And she has over 100,000 subs, and you can guarantee at least half of them are thirsty ass Negroes, So it's not hard to impress these niggas. So saying that Drake was one of the ones that was following her on Instagram when she was alive is not really impressive, okay? So scrolling through here, because I wanted to make a point, said 29-year-old Brittany Elise Burnett was found dead in her apartment last weekend. And keep in mind, this happened back in March of 2016, so this is about a 3-year-old story. says, although police say it looks like it could be suicide, her family thinks she may have been poisoned. The family is working with an independent investigator to determine the cause of death. A statement from the family below, and then they wrote like a little online obituary for her. But, looking at this woman, I'm not really impressed. I mean, condolences to her family, but I'm not really impressed because you can see, she's wearing a lot of stuff to hide, not only what she looks like on the outside, but what she looks like on the inside, or what she feels like on the inside. Okay. So, Drake was following this girl, and also, not only was Drake following this girl, Drake probably tapped that because she was a video vixen that was actually in Kendrick Lamar's famed Poetic Justice music video that he released back in, I think, 2015 alongside Drake, where she appeared in the bed with Drake, okay, on Kendrick Lamar's video. So, she had her brush with celebrity men. Drake he obviously liked her enough to put her in the video, feature her in the video. And so, it's incredible that she would have, Kendrick Lamar and Drake in, kind of like in her, under her resume as being a video vixen. She would have nearly 70,000 Instagram followers, and still yet, as thirsty as a lot of men were for her, she still was not happy in life. She may have been dealing with some bouts of depression. And I've talked about this, but I haven't really discussed it in depth. The mental health of not just black women, but black people in general, and how a lot of the times the stuff that we see on social media that's just a brief moment in time that doesn't really tell the whole story of what's going on behind closed doors. Now, here you have a female that, according to her family, is, she had natural curves. I'm a little skeptical about that. A lot of these females are getting butt injections because they know that's what black men like to see. And, it's an investment. There was even an Instagram booty model that said on DJ Vlad, I forget the hoe's name, but she said, getting implants, getting injections, that's an investment. If this is the type of career field that you're going into, it's your butt becomes an asset. And that's really sad that in the black community, that's all that, our women can say is their greatest asset. But even David Carroll mentioned that a lot of them, that's the only thing that they have of value. And it's really fucked up, but that's just the way it is. So, me looking at a female like this, even though her family claims she had natural curves, I debate that. She could have. A lot of black women do have big booties, but I've said before, I'm usually a rare breed type of Negro because I can see right through the bullshit of these females, including a lot of the stuff that they're wearing or wearing on them, including silicone breast implants and these butt lifts that they be getting. So I'm kind of skeptical about that. But it is worthy of noting that while a lot of men, especially black men, would be easily misled by just the way this woman looks, with those hips and that ass, whether it's real or not, on the inside of herself, she knew something about her was not, kosher. She probably felt, fake or not as good as she wanted to be. And no amount of man worship in the world, including coming from Drake himself, including, being featured as a video vixen in Kendrick Lamar's music video, was enough to make her feel happy. And you'll notice a lot of these females that deal with these, thug or thug resemblance type of Negroes like Drake and Kendrick Lamar, they get passed around by the higher levels of Pookies and Ray Rays, like a Drake, like a Lil Wayne. But you will notice with most of them, if you visit their Instagram, as many guys want to, get with this and tap this, you will notice that a lot of these females, they're single. Now, some of them are single by choice, but others of them are single because men just don't see them as relationship material, or they get with the wrong type of dudes that just use them and abuse them, and the guys that actually would, because there's a lot of thirsty ass black men, including some of y'all, that would look at a female like this and would say, I would like to wife her with your dumb ass. But anyway, you look at this type of female and you be like, wow, I'd like to marry her, I'd like to have kids with her. But these type of females, they're not checking for guys like you. So what winds up happening is the self-esteem that she had built up being worshipped by all these thirsty simps on Instagram, with this big booty and these wide hips, again, fake or real, it begins to deflate when the type of men that she's dealing with, she realizes they only want her for her booty or for what's between her legs, which doesn't make sense, because if you're advertising yourself that way as just, a piece of ass, literally, then how can you expect men, especially Pookie and Ray Ray type of men, to look at or desire anything else from you? Okay? For all we know, this female could have been, I doubt it, but I'm just saying she could have had rocket science type of knowledge. But she knows that that's not what's going to get her the most attention from the type of guys that she wants. So she advertises, what she feels like is going to be an asset to get her attention from the type of men that she wants, which is a big ass, wide hips, real or fake tits, weave, fake up, And it's, it gets to a point where these females get in denial about who they are. Even her family was in denial about who she was. Saying that they didn't believe that she killed herself, saying that they believed that she may have been poisoned. Now, we know that there hasn't been a black person killed by poison in any big way since Jim Jones and the purple Kool-Aid drill, okay? What are the odds they bust in the apartment, find, some empty pill bottle laying by the bedside like they did with Marilyn Monroe, and then all of a sudden, somebody just crept in her apartment, held her down, and shoved the pills down her throat? I don't think so. I believe that she was depressed, and I believe that a lot of these females that you see, these Insta thoughts that, be going to all of these exotic locations, they're depressed because they realize that no matter how much fake up they put on, no matter how much they talk about, whether it's verbal fake up, talking about being strong, independent, most educated, physical fake up, breast implants, butt injections, makeup, weave, no matter how much fake up, travel, going to places like Abu Dhabi and other exotic places like the Bahamas to do photo shoots. At the end of the day, when they go home and they take all that shit off and they look in the mirror, both inwardly and outwardly, but especially inwardly, they still are who the hell they are. Okay? Who is that said that you can fake, you can pretend in front of the entire world, but you can't? No, they said you can fool the entire world, but you can't fool yourself. See, they know. That's why David Carroll said that these females, they know that they're screwed up. So when a simp or a Captain Save-A-Ho comes to them and, he's, giving them all this praise and talking about their queens and the black woman is God, they typically have no respect for that guy. because they know that he is fronting and faking as much as they are fronting and faking. It's like a preacher once told my dad, you can't trick the tricker. And these females, they are a master of trickery. If it wasn't for trickery and fronting and pretending, they would be a master of nothing. And they realize that without their trickery, or what y'all call witchcraft, they are a master of nothing. A lot of them. And I'm sorry, I said 69. She had 61,000 subscribers. Says people that are following her. Let me see. They claim Drake was following her. Is he still following her? Or can you even look that up? I'm not about to scroll through all this shit. Anyway, but scrolling through her Instagram, what you will see is the typical simp worship. 2,000 likes, 100 something comments. A lot of these females, they get as many likes and comments as somebody like me does, or more so, in posting videos. Even the most famous male YouTuber, like a Jesse Lee Peterson or a Tommy Sotomayor or Tariq Nasheed, is dwarfed in the amount of popularity they get in video production versus the amount of, thirsty posts and likes that these females get from, just putting up pictures. But what I've come to realize is a lot of these females, because she's actually not the only Insta thought butt model that has committed suicide. There was another one that was, she was like a black and Puerto Rican type of chick, looked more Puerto Rican than black. She killed herself, I think in early 2017. So, and then there was another female, she was a model, but she was more like an amateur model. I don't think she was an Insta model. Young black girl, I think her name was Tamir Crogane or something like that. She killed herself in St. Louis, So a lot of these models, they don't really think as highly of themselves as a lot of men and other people think of them. Again, because most of this is it's nothing but fake up. Okay? Not just the makeup that they put on, the weave they put on, but their inner selves are empty. Okay? And look, I've dealt with depression. I've dealt with anxiety. I got over depression really quick because my depression was linked to my simp mentality at the time and what I expected from society, what I expected from my fellow man. Once I realized I wasn't going to get from my fellow man what I thought was due me, what I thought the world was obligated to give me simply because I existed, which a lot of these women can't deal with and accept, I got over depression very quickly. Depression has never been a major issue for me. I suffered with it for like 2 years off and on, and then I was done. Once I was like, fuck this world and everything in it, I can do for myself, I was clear and good to go. But unfortunately, a lot of these females, they say the same thing and they claim to be winning. But mentally, psychologically, and for some of them financially, they're losing. They will say the same thing. I don't need no man. I can do bad all by myself. I'm winning. I'm this, I'm that. But on the inside, they're suffering because they realize they don't have the strength of somebody like me to go through life and, be accepting of the fact that I'm single, okay? And actually enjoy being single. A lot of these females are lonely, okay? No matter how many likes, no matter how many comments, no matter how much male, black male simp worship they get, they're not happy in life, and it shows. I've always been one to believe that, the stereotypical bad attitude that black women are known for having is a manifestation of what they feel on the inside projecting that hatred, towards other people, especially black men, that they have of themselves onto other people. See? And so, that's why it's so hard to get along with them, because they don't like themselves. And any psychiatrist or psychologist will tell you that if a person doesn't like themselves, if they hate themselves, they're going to hate everybody and everything around them. It's, the only time you're going to see them, showing some level of respect, and showing some level of desire, if it is something or someone like the white man, subject for another video, that boosts their self-esteem by being acknowledged or being with or around that particular circumstance or person. Anything that reminds them of themselves, they're going to hate. They're going to despise. And it's going to manifest itself outwardly. And another thing, an epiphany just hit me. An epiphany just hit me that I wasn't even thinking about. Now, we know, if I was to scroll through these comments, most of the men, because it's almost mostly men that are leaving comments, are going to be black men, as you can see. Okay? Now, this girl intentionally, more than likely, she intentionally OD'd on medication to kill herself. Yet she's getting all of this worship from black men, mostly black men. They're mostly black men. Okay? I don't even got to go through you. Yeah, black. White men aren't on these Insta thought butt models in any large way. I can guarantee you, if I did research, I could prove that a majority of, the thirst comments on these females' Instagram pages that are butt models on Instagram are black men. Okay? The fact that she would kill herself, even though she's getting all of this worship by her own race of men, saying, we like you, we're checking for you, you look good, baby. You would think that that would boost her self-esteem 1,000%, to where she would think that she was on top of the world. But the fact that she did not value herself, even after being, that myth being, repeated over and over by the simps in her comment section, it being reinforced. Baby, you look good. Ooh, let me get that number. Ooh, you hot. You a baddie. You a dime piece. You this, you that. That was not enough to make her impressed with herself. That was not enough to make her happy, to the point where after probably hundreds of thousands, if not millions of comments and likes, she still took her own life. That lets you know, Mr. Black Man, what these black females as a collective think of you and your worship of them and your deification of them. Now, again, I don't know this woman personally, but I do have to ask the legitimate question. If this was mostly white men or some other race of men in the comment section, and men were she probably had a one of those PayPals or something, or a GoFundMe or something set up where men could send her money and stuff. It probably was more than just comments. She was probably getting paid pretty good to be a Instagram butt model. Okay, I have to wonder what would happen if the majority of the men that were worshiping her on Instagram, instead of being black men, they were white men. Would she have still been so depressed? that she felt like living in this world was not worth it. Now, again, we don't know what the other factors were that led to this, but, when it comes to females, in a lot of cases, especially when they're younger, you're dealing with a pretty shallow number of circumstances. Basically what other people think of them, what they can get out of somebody, and I mean, it pretty much doesn't get too far past that. So, their depression, it could be any one of a number of, particular issues, but usually in the broader scheme of things, it's connected to one of those two things. Okay. And I also notice, again, because I've dealt with depression. And what did I tell you? My depression was linked directly to my, mindset that there are certain things, like a wife and kids, that I should have or should have had by this time in my life. Once I got over that, okay, my depression dried the fuck up. Now, I've had problems and battles with anxiety my whole life since I was 16. But anxiety is the complete opposite of depression. Depression is a downer, like heroin. Anxiety is like an upper. It's like a over booster, like cocaine, or meth. My anxiety is like, I'm always looking over my shoulder, always reaching when I feel threatened. I'm always on alert. I'm sure a lot of us have had panic attacks at some point in life. Anxiety is like the fear of dying, or the fear of, something happening to you, or the fear of what happens if you don't get to this point. Okay. Whereas depression is more like wanting to die, feeling like life is not worth living, not really valuing yourself. I personally feel like my anxiety is because I value myself almost too much now, to the point where I put so much responsibility on myself that I'm constantly being hard on myself. Whereas a lot of these females, these thoughts, they put all of their trust in, as David Carroll calls, their borrowed self-esteem in the hands of other people. And when it's the wrong people boosting their self-esteem, or no people boosting their self-esteem, their insecurities increase, and their self-esteem deflates. Their sense of self-worth deflates. Okay? It was not enough for her to be worshipped by black men, even though she was a black woman. That was not enough. Now, I can't say that, she was a white male worshiper, because, again, I didn't know her, but there was something. This is an interesting photo. There was something empty about this woman, as it is with a lot of these thoughts that we see on the internet. Most of them just get violent and start attacking other black females, or, they start trying to make a man's life a living hell. But some of them will turn that inward onto themselves, But almost all of them, have some measure of mental illness, okay? And that brings me to, I did some research after, recovering this story and this material, as I was clearing my SD card and looking at this Brittany Elise's story. I came across a couple of articles about black women and depression and anxiety here. And this one was written by another one of these educated sisters, Erica Martin Richard, for hopkinsmedical.org. It's called Mental Health Among African American Women. And scrolling down, it says, it's true that everyone experiences temporary periods of sadness and times of worry and nervousness. But what about when those feelings won't go away? Too often, women of color try to muscle their way through their depression and anxiety on their own, says Erica Richards, chair and medical director of the Department of Psychiatry and Behavioral Health at Sibley Memorial Hospital. Y'all remember that black female that shot that black pastor in Arkansas because he wouldn't leave his wife for her after tapping that ass? Isn't it incredible how a lot of, not just black women, because you had that army psychiatrist, that Arab Muslim that shot up Fort Hood, and he was like a army psychiatrist. Isn't it strange? Isn't it funny how the very people who need mental help wind up becoming psychiatrists? I had a counselor like that before. Motherfucker, he looked like he did drugs, and he's sitting up here trying to give me some fucking advice for my anxiety. The fuck? Anyway, let me keep reading this shit. Says, this can be a mistake. What you really need is someone to help you sort out what you're going through and to provide support and treatment options. Now, let me say this. For all black women that are dealing with depression and anxiety, okay, I'm going to give you some advice. And I'm only going to give you some advice because I have dealt with depression and anxiety. This is a fucking lie that keeps getting told over and over and over and over again. Let me read it. This can be a mistake. What you really need is someone else to help you sort out what you're going through. No, wrong. I've tried that, okay? I've tried that. It doesn't work. You know, the fucking group therapy, the fucking counselors, you know, the psychiatrists, that shit does not work. And you will find this out if you go through anxiety and depression long enough and you come out on the other side. All those pills that they be giving you, all those, you know, psychiatry sessions, all that bullshit, none of that shit works. Your strength to overcome your depression and anxiety has to come from the inside. Point blank, period. Okay? You literally have to get to a point. And a lot of times it happens without us even noticing it. Okay? Your strength to overcome depression and anxiety has to come from the inside. You have to literally reprogram the way you think. Okay? Because anxiety and depression is linked directly to the way we think. Okay? Now, I know that changing your thoughts when you're depressed, when you're anxious, is not an easy thing to do. It's not. Okay? But you have to, at some point, find that strength and able to overcome that shit. Okay? Taking medication is not, it will temporarily treat the symptoms, but it's not going to make the shit go away. Okay? A lot of these antidepressants that they're using actually, and they say that Brittany Elise, she died with, you know, some pills beside her bed. She was probably on antidepressants. Poor thing. You know what I'm saying? So I'm here to tell you that shit, it only temporarily cures the symptoms of anxiety and depression. It does not cure the anxiety and depression. You have to get to a point where you are happy with yourself as a human being. Okay? Because a lot of people don't realize this either, especially with depression, not so much with anxiety, but especially with depression. A lot of times depression is derived directly from the way we think and feel our lives are supposed to be going, but are not. We feel like we're not in the place, or we're not as far in life as we should be. Or, you know, it could be some type of, you know, painful breakup with somebody. You know, it could be, you know, losing a job or not getting promoted on the job, or somebody that we like and they don't like us, or they're with somebody else, you know, or we feel like, you know, you go through that midlife crisis. A lot of white men go through this. As a matter of fact, the leading amount of people who commit suicide in the United States are white men, you know, in their middle age. because they get to a certain point and they realize that that white skin didn't get them as far in life as they thought it would. So a lot of times depression specifically is derived from what we think we should be getting from other people in, situations outside of our control in life. Okay. And you have to rearrange the way you think to the point where you become, as I said before, your biggest fan. You become your biggest supporter. You're okay with where you are, or you are confident that you can get where you want to be. As long as you are putting your faith and you are investing, your ego and your self-esteem in other people and situations outside of your control, you're going to be an empty fucking person. I don't care if you have 1 billion followers on Instagram. Says here, anyone can experience mental illness. There is no group, gender, sexual identity, race, or culture belief that can prevent it from occurring, says Richards. And it's actually happening at higher rates than most other illnesses, including heart disease, diabetes, and cancer. That's especially alarming for minority women. Women are at least twice as likely to experience an episode of major depression as men, Richards reports. And compared to their Caucasian counterparts, African American women are only half as likely to seek help. See, and that's what I have a woman in my family right now. It's obvious that she has mental problems, and she struggles with anxiety. Not so much depression, but she struggles with anxiety. Whenever I go to her and bring it up that, she has these issues, she always denies it. Because, and remember, y'all, I made several videos back in 2018 about, mental illness in Black America. We see it running rampant in these inner cities. Like in Chicago, you see the way those little Negroes, I almost said something else, act, in front of a camera. You can tell that they're brain damaged. Now, there are different types of mental illness. A lot of these hood urchins, they're just brain damaged. They're just mentally ill. Okay, they're gone in the head. But then you have others, like that woman who killed that pastor in Arkansas. They have a different type of mental illness, meaning they can get a degree, they can work a job, but they're depressed. They're anxious. You have a lot of females here on YouTube like that. And I told you, Black men, that these females, they can front all they want. But the reason why they keep, coming for us, talking shit, creating hit lists and infiltrating Black male spaces is because they know, just like with this Brittany Elise girl, they know damn well that Black men are the only ones really checking for them in any large way. Okay? And as a result of that, okay, they have to cater to us to some extent, or they have to keep in close proximity to us, even though a lot of them hate and despise us because they hate and despise themselves. Okay? So if, we were just to be completely separated, from one gender to the next, Black men and Black women, okay? And Black men were to go off and do their own thing, and Black men were to go off and, Black women were to go off and do their own thing, and Black men were to go off and do their own thing. What you would find is that Black women would crumble psychologically a lot faster than we would. Because not only are we physically stronger, we're mentally stronger. We're mentally more capable. I'm living proof of that. I wake up every day and it's almost scary. I literally have no desire to physically be with anybody, male or female, anymore. And the crazy thing is, I'm still very physically and sexually attracted to women, Well, certain types of women. I said before, and I'll say it again, I don't consider women who are too large in certain parts of their body, extra big boobs, extra big ass, as really attractive. That's not the type of woman that I'm attracted to. I'm attracted to women who are well portioned. They have, nice legs, nice thighs, nice ass, nice tits, but everything's equal. Everything's well portioned. Seeing a woman walking around with a damn ass look like she's hiding 2 fucking TVs, behind her back. I mean, that really doesn't do anything for me. Okay. But even though I'm still very attracted to women, I'm not a slave to women and what I feel like they can potentially give me, which is, sexual gratification and, you know, company, essentially. Because that's really majority of the time, that's besides having children, that's what men seek women for. They seek them for sexual gratification and they seek them for companionship. And women do the same thing with men. Again, like we say, black women love dick and attention. Now, in some of their cases, and it may or may not been the case with Brittany Elise, considering the amount of Negroes that were worshiping her, I'd have to, at least suspect it that, some of them, they seek only a certain type of dick and attention. Again, they will use the black man as the default plan, the black up man, as I call him. But sometimes that's not enough. And again, you don't know what's going on in somebody's personal life, but, considering that we're all human, it's pretty, we all really obey the same law, the law of the same physics. So there's a good chance that whatever that person is going through, we can pretty much guess one of a few things that it could be, And again, a lot of these females, in spite of all this man worship by black men, they're lonely. Okay, for one reason or the other. So yeah, guys, I just thought I would get that out because this along with that Kadi Unique secret swirler video was one of the older pieces of material that I had in my archives that I recovered once I got to emptying out my SD card onto my laptop. And, I just felt this was something very worthy to talk about. Leave your comments. Make sure you thumbs up the video. And talk to you later, guys.